In class, this is Dr. Peter Trzop, and just wanted to go over a topic about elitism in education. And I think a lot of people get confused with the term or what the goal of education is. And so words do have connotations or they mean things to people in different ways. Elitism is basically the idea that you are trying to be elite, or better described as you're trying to be better. And some people take that as, oh, well, I don't want to be elite. I don't want to appear aloof or ugly or mean or negative or better or judgmental. Sometimes people fill in those connotations or beliefs what that word means. But for example, here's an example. We might say, well, we have some really good military members in infantry, and then they go to Rangers, but then we have this elite special forces unit. It just means they have more training and they're in a smaller group, and it's a very it's like an honor, if you will. It doesn't mean that they're better people. It doesn't mean they don't sin or do bad things or think bad thoughts. They're somehow pure or something. But it just means that they've done certain things to put them in a specific group. Education falls into that. You are If you're going to college, you're going there for a reason. You're not going there most people just because they have this natural curiosity about things. That might be part of it. Like I like to read and I like to learn things, but I wanted to get a degree because I wanted to be a commissioned officer, and commissioned officers have to have degrees, okay, meaning 4-year degrees, bachelor's of arts or bachelor's of science. So that's something that was a requirement. So I had to get that for that requirement. Having said that, does that mean I'm a better person or a better soldier or better than an NCO or better than enlisted? No, that does not mean that. Okay, it just means that for this thing, you have to do this. Okay, and education does that. For example, there's NCOs that non-commissioned officers who go and get 4-year degrees while enlisted. Does that mean they're better people? No. So take the judgmental part out. But on their promotion scores, it does help them quite a bit. It helps to make them more elite or in a smaller group that gets more points in that section. Do they still have to know their job? Yes. Do they need to know how to do or get promotions and awards? Yes. But having said that, that every time they take that extra step in education, it's more and more elite. Okay. And then some schools will say, well, we're an elite school, meaning, yeah, you can go to this school and get this education, but we're better than them. And there may be some truth to that. They do tier schools, they rate schools, and whatever it is. But the point being is that education is a form of elitism. Okay. So, if you join a sports team, do you want to be the worst team or do you want to work harder and be an elite team that goes to regional and state championships or competitive and win trophies and cups and tournaments and things like that? Or do you want to just be just a soccer team or sports team, football, whatever? So I think a lot of people confuse the term as a negative, and when they need to sit there and say, no, this is what it is. Now, another thing they confuse too is it's not the piece of paper that gets you the respect, it's the process. And if you don't earn the degree or you don't go through the process, then at that point you may impress people like I'm a doctor, and some people say, wow, that's really cool, and that what do you know, what do you study, what can you, and this, it's a great thing and there's nothing wrong with it. But if I didn't earn it and someone just gave me DR, then I'm a fraud, right? I'm a charlatan. I'm an imposter. And eventually it comes out. The quality comes out as well. But because I went through the process and I took 60 hours and I did 48 classroom hours and I did 12 dissertations, spent almost a year on the dissertation, I'm an expert in that field, in that area that I did, but I'm also 48 hours of extra writing, research, and analysis, and that helps me out in so many ways. That is what the DR means. Okay, so that's a form of elitism. Doesn't mean you're better. It just means that you've gone through extra steps to be put into a smaller and smaller category, and that's what's important. So if someone says that, like, and another thing too I love is when someone says, well, I go to the school of hard knocks. I learned on the streets. Well, does that mean that I didn't do that either? I mean, I think I did. I mean, I went through combat training in the military and being a private all the way up to specialist before I became an officer. But does that mean, somehow I don't have that, or, and so that's a form of elitism. Someone says, well, I grew up this way and I learned, and that's good. That, in other words, you went through a set of skills and experiences, and that may put you in a little elite group in your mind, or maybe a mind of a few people. But it doesn't hurt to say, you know what? a person with street smarts can get a degree. They can do education as well, or maybe there's training or technical or reading or books, or there's all the ways they can add to that and supplement. But at the same time, someone with education can go through the streets and learn and become more balanced and experienced. There's nothing that says they can't do that either. So I think it's a good blend of things that make people stronger. So having said that, do we need some people that are just basically hands-on world experience, on the streets? That's important. And is it important to have some of the people that live in the ivory tower that's just all about education? I think that's important too. But the point is that we have to have the bulk of people in the middle that have a nice blend of that so they respect both sides of the coin. You may get a job because of education, but over time you'll keep it and grow and get promoted because of your experience and expertise. That's kind of like the streets. So you got to fuse these things together. And as you go up in your life, you become more and more elite in theory, or you join a more select club as you go along. And these are important things. So I always like to say that I remember Professor Matheny from Center College would say, he's like 5'7" or something, like 5'6", real small guy, but he had a thunderous voice and he was a smoker, so it made it even deeper. And he would sit there and say, education is elitism. And if you didn't believe that, then why are you going to school? Do you not want to be better? I mean, he'd go into this whole thing, and I was like, oh my God, that's so true. I want to be better. I want to do better, And he always said, it doesn't mean that you're a better person. It just means you've gone through things that are recognized as having done more, and that puts you in a more elite category and a unique, special, whatever you want to label. It doesn't really matter. But I really believe that message. I've told several kids this week and just told one today, and I said, you know what, I better share this in the video because I think some kids they almost have to justify them wanting to go to college. And I'm like, you don't have to justify anything. If you want to go to college and you go because you want to be elite, you want to be better, you want to write, analyze research better, learn information, that there's no justification of that. The other person just probably is making you feel bad because they don't want to do that work and they want to compete against someone who's equal, not someone who's got a degree or elite or better. That's probably the issue. So maybe they're projecting onto you what they wish they could do or want to do or know they should do. So that's what I'm going to be. That's the point of this video, is just emphasize that if you want to do something, as long as it's not illegal, immoral, improper, who cares? Okay? If you want to go to school the rest of your life, good for you. Okay? Who cares? It's none of their business. If you want to be better, then find a way to be better. And that could be experience, it could be education, it could be whatever. Don't care. Just do it. And hopefully it improves society and culture and makes the world just a better place. Even if it's just your world or your family and friends, that's what's important here. So I appreciate it. And if you have any other topics, please drop me a line. Thanks.